The following is a Today's THV special presentation. Named Best Newscast by the Associated Press. You're watching Today's THV at 6 with Ann Jensen, Larry Otis, meteorologist Ed Buckner, and Ray Tucker Sports.
Head on the weather tour up in Cabot. Got the band going and the whole bit. #1 football team. You're probably in hog heaven there, aren't you?
Having a good time. I feel like I should be kicking field goals or something.
Stick to the band thing.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, the band doesn't want me playing anymore. They took away. What is that thing called? A quad? Oh, it's called a quad. I thought they were just called 4 drums. Anyway, they're pretty heavy. Y'all do a good job. We'll talk more with the band in a moment. First, tell you a little bit about why we're here in Cabot. Now, this is the first stop on the Ed and Chuck's Travelin weather tour. This city was incorporated way back in 1891, November 9th, and it was formed by the trains. That's right, the trains needed a fueling and a watering stop, so of course, Cabot developed around that back in 1873. You see now it's a thriving metropolis of over 8,000. Here I am at the middle school earlier today talking to a bunch of 8th graders, having a wonderful time educating them and them educating me as well about the weather, what's going on with El Nino and tornadoes and hurricanes and all kinds of things. They had some really good questions to ask. And while I was there, I said, if you come out tonight at 5, you will be in a drawing to help me do the weather, a guest weather segment. Well, unfortunately, no one from that group won. However, Josh Huthmacher, is that close?
Close enough.
Josh here is a junior at Cabot High School. We were talking a little bit earlier, junior year, that was the year I first got my driver's license. How about you?
Pretty much.
You driving out there?
Yeah.
Watch out, guys. Josh is now driving in the streets of Cabot. Do you like school?
It's not too bad.
What do you know about the weather?
Absolutely nothing.
Now, wait a minute. Now, I taught you something a minute ago, right?
All right.
What are those clouds called that we talked about?
The curly Q clouds.
Very good. You see the meteorological terms I've given Josh? Now, look down there at your screen. You see that? That's the National Satellite Perspective. What do you see there?
I see some curly Q clouds.
There you go. Like I taught you myself. You see them up there near Minnesota, that little circle-looking thing?
Uh-huh.
That's an area of low pressure. Which way do the winds rotate around low pressure?
Counterclockwise.
Very good. Very good. Now that's going to allow some colder air to filter into the middle part of the country. Let's see what our next map is, and you tell me what the numbers were for today.
Little Rock had a high of 77 and a low of 53. North Little Rock also had a high of 77, but a low of 54. And the hottest was THV with a high of 78 and a low of 56.
Great. And right now,
it's 77 degrees with a humidity of 46% and a barometer of 30.11.
And it's falling. That arrow means it's falling. Winds were calm. Now, let me ask you about the humidity when it's 46%. Is that low or high?
I have no idea.
Well, are you sweating and feeling really yucky right now, or does it feel pretty good?
Feels pretty good.
Yeah, that's why that humidity is low. It feels pretty nice outside. What about around the state?
Right now?
Yeah.
It's 77 in Little Rock, about 70 in Fayetteville.
The coolest reading is?
Coolest reading is 64 in Morrilton.
Harrison. That's close, though. It's hard to read. I know.
Okay.
Harrison.
Sorry.
Yeah. That's okay. You're doing fine. Look around the nation. Where is it cold?
It's cold up north.
I've always wanted to say that on the air. Well, it's cold in the north and hot in the south. What about tonight's forecast?
Tonight, there's a low of 55. Clouds will thicken and rain is likely late.
And tomorrow's forecast looks like that?
It's turning cooler, rain likely early with a high of 63.
And the wind shifting to the north. It's going to be colder tomorrow, right?
Right.
So that would tell you what? That a front's moving through.
Yep.
I think it's that curly Q cloud thing, probably. There's the extended outlook. What's the coldest day in the next several?
Looks like Wednesday.
Right. Just a couple of days from now, winter will definitely return. Well, how'd that feel, Josh?
Pretty cold.
No, how'd it feel doing the weather?
Oh, it's not bad.
Not bad. Pretty easy job, isn't it?
Easy job, yeah.
Well, no, it's not that easy. Come on. Tell them how hard it is, Josh.
It's terrible.
There you go. It's terribly hard to do the weather. We're having a great time here at Cabot. The band, y'all going to play us another song here as we go into the break. We'll have much more from Cabot High, give you a little bit of background on those Panthers, the undefeated Panthers, in just a moment. Hit it, guys.
Today's THV is sponsored by Hankey Brothers.
Back here at Cabot High School, home of the undefeated Panthers. Now, all around town today, the talk was either of Tom Brannon, which we got pretty sick of hearing. Tom's from Cabot. Yeah, we know all about Tom. Tom, everybody said to tell you hi, and they saw your brother. They said he was even shorter than you. But Tom Brannon is not the main talk of Cabot. The pride of this community has a lot to do with their high school football team, the undefeated Cabot Panthers. Take a look at some of these pictures from last Friday night's matchup against Sylvan Hills. Cabot won this thing 31-0. Oh, look, now I'm doing sports. The unbeaten Panthers are 1 point ahead of Conway and 4 points better off than Texarkana in the AP poll. Now, Cabot made 300 yards last week and beat Sylvan Hills 31-0 in a matchup between unbeaten teams in the 4A East. So, way to go, Cabot. They're really proud of their team here, and they're hoping for an undefeated season. So that's one. Whenever anybody talks about Cabot, you say, hey, good football program, and indeed they do. Now, the cheerleading program is just as good, a very top-ranked cheerleading program. Chuck Dovish, I think, is helping them out, aren't you, Chuck?
Yes, the cheerleading program is excellent here. And you know, Ed, in the 6 towns that we'll be visiting in the next 2 weeks, there are a lot of great places to eat. But what we did was pick the people's choice in each particular town. And here's what we came up with in Cabot.
Our first stop in Cabot is the Blazing Hearth Grill. And lo and behold, who did we find in the kitchen but today's THV's Tom Brannon.
One of the items noted for here at the Blazing Hearth Grill are the steaks. They're excellent, they're fresh. Look at this, ready to go over here. What kind of steak is this, Dad?
Ribeye.
Ribeye. Oh, this is my dad. Oh, there we go. This is my dad, by the way. He's the owner here at the Blazing Hearth, Thomas C. Brannon, and he's whipping up some, what do you got over there, onions?
Onion.
What's that for?
That's the fajitas.
For the fajitas. They have fajitas here as well as some great grilled chicken.
Let's move on to N&N's family restaurant, where catfish and barbecue are the specialty.
20 years ago, it was just a screened-in, small dairy bar, just hamburgers and hot dogs. Now, basically, catfish, barbecue. We do all our own smoking of our barbecue.
And at Brown's Diner, it's the Husky Burgers that keep them coming back.
They come in all different sizes. They're a half a pound for just a regular Husky burger, and then if you go for our Panther burger, it is a pound and a half. And we call it the Panther burger because of the Cabot High School football team. They're called the Panthers. So.
And if somebody eats a whole one?
You get a free ice cream.
Okay, now what we're leaving with these folks at each of these restaurants is this highly coveted, highly sought after Dovish 8 here recognition. And I know, Ed, that you'll want to have one of these in your kitchen, right?
Right. Like the day I invite you to eat in my kitchen, you'll have to clean up. That's for sure. Chuck, how you holding up?
I'm about to drop her
what
here,
about
Ed.
you? What do you think about this?
Great.
Great. Yeah, you just want to get down, don't you? Having a good time out here at Cabot. We'll throw it back to you guys now. Chuck has to let the young lady down.
Yeah.
We'd like to see that, actually.
She weighs about, what, 40 pounds?
I don't know. Let's see how he does.
Teeny little thing. To the gym,
Very
Chuck.
carefully.
Let's make sure this is a safe. Yeah, they got off. All right.
There you go.
It's even graceful.
Not so safe.
I want to introduce you to a special friend of mine. This is Emily. Now, Emily, you were watching at 5 o'clock when Chuck Dovish and I were playing the instruments. What did that look like? What was Chuck doing?
He was crossing his eyes like this.
He had a hard time. Chuck and I are doing something a little different this week. Not so much Chuck, of course. He's eating again, as usual. We're traveling to towns around central Arkansas, and today's stop was Cabot. That's a sound you hear a lot of these days in Cabot. Air hammers, power saws, construction workers building and building. But it wasn't always that way. We decided on this first day of our weather tour to talk to some locals in Cabot who have seen it all. Like so many small towns of its era, Cabot was developed around the railroad, and to this day, trains still make their presence known through downtown Cabot.
Well, as a kid, they had a place over here where the post office is now, right across the track there. And they had an old, we called it a one-lunger, that they turned it on at 6 in the afternoon and off at 10 at night. That was all electricity. It was a Cabot Light and Power Company. One little generator, and that was it.
As with most growing communities, sometimes after a long day, you need a place to relax and enjoy life a little bit. Like here at Greystone, a beautiful, newly developed 18-hole golf course in the Cabot area. Boy, this weather tour and stuff is pretty hard work. 4. Uh-oh. Anybody seen that? Where'd my ball go? Did you see that drive? Did you guys see that drive? Oh, that part wasn't supposed to be in the story.
I would bet if Ed and Chuck are sick, it's probably from overeating on this weather tour. They're out in Lonoke today where they're sampling the food and meeting the folks, having a good time. How you doing, guys?
We're doing good. We have done some eating. One of us has.
We'll have some catfish here in a minute.
You know how Chuck is. Before we talk about that eating, Chuck, I want to ask you a question. You've been all over Arkansas, everywhere you can imagine. Trivia question for you. The beautiful county courthouse here in Lonoke behind me. When was it built?
1898.
1928.
1928.
Very good, Chuck. It's on the historic registers list. It's a beautiful building. Have you been inside of it?
Yes, I have.
It's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. We're going to have more on that coming up in just a little bit. A little bit of a light rain falling here, but we've got a great turnout, as you can see, the kids behind me. Also a special guest from Lonoke High School in the 9th grade. She's going to help me do the weather in just a little bit. She's a cheerleader. I'll give you that much of a hint. More on that in just a moment. Let me talk to you a little bit more about some of the kids I visited today at Lonoke Middle School. These were 6th graders. We talked to about 130 6th graders, and we had a wonderful time. I love talking with the kids. They had some great questions. I gave them a little quiz. They were very, very receptive to my little quiz, and they knew all the answers. So way to go, 6th grade at Lonoke Middle School. We appreciate you having us. A lot of those 6th graders are here right now. I want to show you again live view radar. A little bit of light rain falling right now in Lonoke. It is very, very light and moving out as we speak. And behind it, we'll see some very cold temperatures. Matter of fact, a freeze warning in effect for northwest Arkansas. The counties you see there shaded mean very, very cold weather. So we'll have much more in the forecast in our special guest and more from Chuck in just a few minutes.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, we see that Andrew is there again. That's the little fella next to him. Had fun with him at 5, and probably more coming up. So many restaurants, so little time with those guys. Have a sneak peek at some of Lonoke's finest, and there it is.
So pull up a chair. We'll be right back with more from Ed and Chuck's Travelin' Weather Tour.
I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about what Lonoke is famous for, and that is the fish hatchery. Now, fish farming, big industry here in Lonoke County. Matter of fact, about 20,000 acres are devoted to that. Now, one of the places, and a lot of people have heard of this place, the Joe Hogan State Fish Hatchery is one of the largest in the world. As a matter of fact, the largest state-owned fish hatchery, and we had a good time out there earlier today looking at some of the exotic wildlife. You saw that? That was an alligator, believe it or not. All kinds of stuff. There's even an albino catfish. There it is, right next to a black catfish. Having a wonderful time learning all about the wildlife, and again, that is a huge fish hatchery just on the outskirts of Lonoke. Okay, now's the magical time. Come here, Fallon. This is her. Fallon Tway, 9th grader, Lonoke High School. You're a cheerleader, right, Fallon?
Yes.
You ever seen yourself on TV before?
No.
Look pretty good, don't you?
I guess.
Think you can handle this?
I'll try.
What's life like as a 9th grader in high school now, Lonoke High?
It's fun.
You like school?
Yes.
Do you know anything about the weather?
A little.
A little? What do you know about the weather? It's raining right now.
Right.
That's all you need to know. That's all you need. What do you see on your map there? That's live view radar. What does it look like? What's all that blue mean?
That it's cold.
And it's raining.
Yeah.
A very light rain, right? You can look up and see that right now.
Yeah.
What about the temperature? Tonight's freeze. Are we gonna see a freeze in some parts of Arkansas tonight?
Yes, we're going to see it in the northern states.
Northern counties, northwest
Yes.
counties.
Mm-hmm.
What cities up there? Do you know? Fayetteville.
Fayetteville.
Can you call the hogs? That's another story. Okay. Regional radar. That's the regional radar. What's all that green mean? Rain.
Rain.
Can you name any of those states around here?
Oklahoma,
Very good.
Louisiana, and Texas.
Texas seeing some rain. Right now, the heaviest rain, though, is in northern Louisiana. This next picture is called a satellite. Now, this is a camera 22,000 miles up in space taking a picture. Where are the clouds? Can you tell? Pretty much over Arkansas, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
That big white blob there. Now, let's look at some of the temperatures. Where is it cold? Can you tell?
Around Arkansas and
Very cold. And
yes.
up north? What about the current temperatures around the state? Can you read any of those?
Little Rock is 52 degrees and Fayetteville's 50.
Harrison's also 50.
Yes.
And 57 in Hope and Texarkana. Now, this is the almanac. How warm did we get today? It's hard to read, I know. We can't really. It's 61 in Little Rock.
61 and low is 52. North Little Rock is the low, high is 62 and the low is 51, I think.
50.
And THV here is
64.
high is 64 and the low is 50.
Looks like 52. I couldn't read it either. Right now, what's the temperature?
52 degrees.
Humidity very high, 86%. Running out of time here. The barometer rising and the wind pretty strong out of the northeast. You know that, though. It feels cool out here. What about tonight's low?
It's going to be 44 degrees.
And tomorrow's high? Bye-bye.
63 degrees.
And the extended outlook. When's the next chance of rain here? Here it comes in just a second. Give it a second. By the way, tomorrow's going to be sunny, so it'll feel a lot nicer.
Okay. Looks like it's about to rain Thursday.
You got it. It's going to rain a good part of the week. We'll have much more from Lonoke in just a few minutes. Stay with us.
Ed and Chuck's Travelin' Weather Tour is brought to you by Baptist Memorial Medical Center and by Sonic.
The big weather tour tonight, live from the Lonoke Town Square in the city of Lonoke, the county seat of Lonoke County, obviously. Now, there's a lot of history here. A lot of people know the history about the lone oak tree, which unfortunately did not make it. It got cut up, I believe, in the 1950s, and parts of the city took it home with them. So there's no more lone oak to talk about. But here on the county courthouse lawn, we've got a Civil War cannon, which has a lot of history in itself, which we'll talk to you more about at 10 o'clock. Also, the train depot. Now, this was a Rock Island train depot built in the 1800s. Of course, the city was founded because of the railroad, as were most cities and towns in the early 19th century because of what the railroad did for them. Also, the county courthouse, built in 1928, a beautiful structure, obviously a beautiful structure. It's on the National Register of Historic Places, and it is indeed a sight to see. We talked a little bit about that at 5, and we will talk more about that coming up tonight at 10 as well. So there are lots of things to see and learn about with the history of Arkansas here, and Chuck Dovish probably knows a little bit more about that too. Chuck?
Oh yeah, and we're talking about, the Lonoke as far as fish are concerned. We have a few examples of fish over here. Lonoke has the biggest fish hatchery. It's the minnow capital of the world, and this big old fish tank here with some catfish and crawfish and all kind of Arkansas sport fish is some of the kids with the local high school here, the FFA group, brought this over here. We thank them very much. And I don't know if I should grab one in there or not, but anyway, speaking of catfish, catfish is the main diet with folks here in Lonoke, and it's sometimes the restaurants with the best food are, well, you say, kind of modest on the outside, to say the least.
When talking about eating places in Lonoke, keep in mind it's not the outside looks, it's inside that counts. Nichols Barbecue, for instance, slow cooked 18 hours means mouth-watering, delicious barbecue.
A man used to tell me in Little Rock, he said, the reason I like to come here, he said, you make your sandwiches with love. So that was a big joke in northern Little Rock, that the love sandwich, that's what he called it. He said, this is a love sandwich.
At Flint's Dairy Bar, just outside of town, is where you can get the best yogurt cones around. And at Perry's Restaurant, just off the interstate, you'll find lunch and dinner buffets, and also, as you might have guessed, this is where many travelers stop in.
So it's coconut cream pie is the thing here.
Coconut cream pie goes better than any of it. So whatever they ask for, that's what I give them.
Pruitt's Barbecue and Catfish pretty much says it all. Good barbecue, excellent catfish, and the homemade pies, out of this world. Cooking know-how passed down from generation to generation.
I learned that from my mom. She learned it from her mom, and just one of those things. And then just hit and miss stuff.
Well, I tell you what, the catfish is definitely a hit. Ed, I'm saving this for you. Plenty here for everybody in the whole crew. You gotta have a taste, Ed.
Chuck said he'd save me a piece of pie earlier. He comes back with like the crust. Yeah, okay, I'm waiting.
All right.
Back to you, Larry and Ann. I'm going to be waiting for my food.
Yeah, we notice as he's eating it, he says he's saving it. I didn't quite match, but whatever.
He doesn't save me much.
Yeah. All right, quick check on the weather tour. We see Chuck's eating. Ed, have you tasted any of it yet?
Well, Larry, I'm touched. I'm honored. This is just incredible. The first time ever Chuck is allowing me to partake in his food.
Well,
Chuck, thank you. What's the deal?
Partake anytime you want to. You know that.
Yeah, if you leave me some. Appreciate that.
Looking at 5 and 6 about Ed and Chuck always eat when they're on the road, but there's a lot more than that, isn't there?
Well, we're joking about Ed eating.
Okay, there's more than that. Whatever.
Chuck always eats.
Yeah, we're doing something a little different now. You may have seen it yesterday and earlier at 5 and 6. We're traveling in central Arkansas on our little weather tour. Now, tonight's stop is Lonoke. There we found a wealth of really neat history at every turn and some really big fish.
History is everywhere in Lonoke. Take this cannon, for instance. It was made back in the Civil War and was reportedly even used during the Brooks-Baxter conflict in Little Rock.
There was 4 companies from Lonoke County that participated in that, and they brought the cannon back on the train from Little Rock. Of course, they were greeted with crowds of people and the brass band playing.
The Lonoke County Courthouse is on the U.S. Register of Historic Places. It was built in 1928 and still serves as the legal center for 40,000 residents of Lonoke County. The railroad has played an important part in the history of Lonoke as well. Even though the tracks have been pulled up, the train depot still stands as the center of metropolitan Lonoke. Another Lonoke point of interest is the Joe Hogan State Fish Hatchery. It's one of the United States' largest and oldest fish farms. Inside the visitor center, there's a live alligator, big catfish, and a really cool-looking stuffed alligator gar hanging from the ceiling.
Another note about the cannon from the first story, it was made in 1861 in Pennsylvania, and now just about every year that state calls and asks for their Civil War cannon back. So far they haven't gotten it.
I think I've been to the place where they are out there near Bryant. It's pretty neat. Kind of a homestead-looking place, isn't it?
Haven't been there, anxious to see it.
One of the things I like best about it, Larry and Ann, is it takes you back into history. You know, that's the best way you can learn about history, actually reliving what things were like back in 1896. This is Brooke Helms. Now, Brooke is the president of Farmstead 2000. That's the title they gave this little project. Tell me about this project.
The actual house was built in 1896 by Samuel Tull, and we've moved it from the Foster's parking lot where it was the Chamber of Commerce, and we've completely refurbished it to
help the
way it was.
And that helps the young ones learn about history?
Yes.
Tell me about the Tull family. They had 9 kids, 4 girls?
They had 4 girls and 5 boys, and in the summertime it was so cramped that the boys slept on the porch.
How about that for making the best out of a family? Thank you very much, Brooke. Let's take a look inside here real quick and give you a little bit of a tour. By the way, the students built this porch. There was a porch on it. It, of course, deteriorated. They rebuilt it to what it used to look like. Here's one of the bedrooms. Again, this is a 2-bedroom house. This is Dagny back here in the corner. Dagny, tell me a little bit about what we're seeing up on the wall here.
This is what myself and 7 other people painted, and this too.
Kind of to help decorate the house here?
Put it as a background.
It looks lovely. How long did that take you?
About 5 months.
Wow, it looks great. Thanks a lot, girls. Let's go in here. This is the 2nd bedroom. This is the master bedroom. This one a little bit more furnished. We've got a wood stove over here in the corner, and we could really have that on tonight. It'd really be heating things up. This is Eliza. Eliza, tell me about that in the corner.
This in the corner is a bed like the little kids slept on in this house.
Neat. No, we need to go straight over here, Eliza. This is a picture of Samuel Tull, by the way, right here. This is the guy who built the home, and he pretty much had his hands full. What is the cotton for, though?
This cotton is basically just telling how they did back then, how they pick cottons and their cotton pickers and everything.
Talk about your authentic learning. They're growing cotton just to see what life was like in 1896. Joining me now, a special guest out here on the front porch. Hey, Mr. Mayor, good to see you again. We are talking to just about the entire state of Arkansas right now, wondering a little bit more about your community. What do you like best about Bryant?
Well, I like one thing about Bryant I like good is that it's a safe place to live. We can walk the streets at night and feel real safe.
Yeah, we appreciate you welcoming all of us out here tonight. We thank you for that.
We're glad to have you anytime.
Our pleasure. We were out here earlier today at the middle school. That's one of my favorite things to do on these weather tours, and that's talk to some of the kiddos about the weather. Take a look at, we talked to about 450 6th graders at Bryant Middle School talking about weather and forecasting. Then I opened it up for some questions, and here's what some of the kids had to say. Right, Miss Reed? What is the exact name of the radar that we use at Channel 11?
Live view radar.
He says it's live view radar. Good job, buddy.
We keep close track of Ed and Chuck and how they do on these tours. Maybe we should follow up on the people in the towns. What kind of havoc do they wreak when they leave? Are they still intact there, huh?
I think so, but you're right. We probably ought to go back in a couple of weeks. Chuck and I have had lots of fun today, especially in Bryant. And guess what? Chuck got to eat again.
It's not exactly the kind of place Hollywood would pick to film another Godfather sequel, but it is an extremely popular Italian restaurant in Bryant. Well, it's the only Italian restaurant in town. Owners Sandy and Brad Nutt may not have the Italian name for knowing a lot about old world Italian recipes, but they do know someone who does.
A lady who's very Italian sold all the recipes to us and taught us how to cook it, and we just started from there.
And many folks in Bryant are glad they did.
And I'm here eating a lunch with my friend, and she told us this spot. I never knew it was over here until I met her, until she brought me here, so it's really good.
So, what's for dinner?
Primavera with chicken. Has a white sauce, all the vegetables, sauteed garlic chicken with linguine.
Usually I have the chicken and broccoli Alfredo, and also the lasagna is really good here.
Ah, yes, lasagna.
Lasagna, we sell a lot of lasagna. We sell a lot of garlic chicken. We sell a lot of our lemon garlic salad.
Mm-hmm.
Those are probably about the tops.
What do we have here?
This is a shrimp scampi, and this is an Italian vegetable. This is for vegetarians. It's great. It is a little bit lower in calories than traditional Italian dishes.
That booger is good to go.
We had to ask Sandy and Brad, who's the boss?
Jeez. All men know that.
Mamma mia, that's a gutta italiano. Be sure and join us Monday when we head down the road to Benton at Jerry Van Dyke Soda Fountain. Until then, at Pasta Plus in Bryant, Chuck Dovish, today's THV, Travelin, Arkansas.
Now, a lot of folks know Bryant as a city they pass on Interstate 30. On today's weather tour stop, I talked to the people of Bryant. The town is more than just a sign between Benton and Little Rock. The folks in Bryant say they are in the center of it all, and they really are. This monument just north of town marks the exact spot, the geographical center of the natural state. Do you know where the geographical center of Arkansas is? Okay. It's right up the road there. Just wanted to let you know it's in Bryant. Have you looked here long? Yeah. Have you looked here long?
Yeah, but when I'm driving, I don't look at those signs.
You'd like to see it stay small.
Yeah, I was here when there was 39 houses in Bryant.
39 houses. You could count the homes in Bryant. Right. 40, 41, 42.
It's growing. It's growing rapidly. Yeah, it's a nice area. We love it. We plan on staying here.
I helped set out some of the trees around here, and especially up by the house. And we had a little creek run through here, and us boys come down here and build a dam to have a swimming pool.
499, 500, 501.
I remember across the road here in this 5-lane highway, we had a farm on that side and also a farm on this side, and a little farm right over here. And of course, the road was gravel.
1,212, 1,213. Where's the geographical center of Arkansas?
It is on Highway 5.
Yeah, okay.
There's a marker.
So you know.
I know.
We're seeing that people
okay.
know. That's
Do many not know?
Well, I don't know. We've only asked 2, and she didn't know.
Okay, and I knew. So do I win a prize?
1,518. Hey, how you doing? Good to see you. 1, 2, 3. So what's the point there?
And you never made it to the end.
No. The town has grown. It's great to see that.
The point is your memory's bad, huh?
That's one other thing. A whole other story there.
Town is growing.